shit. We have to get into this, and we'll do this one last one, and we'll wrap up here. But so Alabama, they have the abortion restrictions in Alabama. Well, they just for the first time in fucking whenever elected a Democrat as a senator in Alabama, and the Democrat came out and she won by a landslide, and it was almost all female voters for her. So it might be that Alabama turns blue. Alabama's now in play.
What has happened in this universe when Alabama has any even little blip of blue going on?
I know it's like shocking. I was shocked to
Wow.
hear that, but yeah, Alabama might be in play in the next few years. I don't know about this year, but maybe in the next 4 or 5. But and a lot of it's all centered around the abortion thing. Was a lot of it restricting women's rights. But yeah, the question is who's going to be the last one? Who's going to be the last dog to the bowl? Who's going to be the last one to meet with progress? I don't know, Mississippi. Who's it going to be? Wink, wink.
You're like, we're looking at you, kid.
Yeah. I think their state still has a Confederate flag. That's their state flag. And you're like, you fucking idiots. Anyway, so that was kind of interesting news because that's going to be a big push here in the election. On top of that fact, Florida, the Supreme Court there, just upheld what's a 15-week abortion ban. So you can't get an abortion after 15 weeks, which is dangerous because a lot of complications and things happen after 15 weeks, and a lot of women, don't have the time or the resources to decide or do it within 15 weeks. I mean, you're talking about less than 4 months. I mean, most women don't know they're pregnant for at least, 8 to 12 weeks. So, it's kind of really pushes it. Well, now, not only does that happen, but it opens it up and it clears the way for what's probably inevitably going to be a 6-week ban before women even know they're pregnant. So you're basically banning abortion.
Weeks, like that 6-week thing, like I see, and it kind of takes my breath away because the truth of the matter is, and I'll even be honest about my age, like, I'm a woman in her 40s, and when you're sort of at the beginning of, certain life changes, then things start spreading out a little bit. It would be very easy for a woman of my age to have no idea until they're past 6 weeks, because you go, oh, okay, well, you know what? It's been more than 4 weeks, but everything's been sort of shifting and spreading out, and like, bam. Or people who were always irregular, but particularly in my age bracket, that's a very scary idea. Very scary.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you might as well just make it illegal. You're only saying 6 weeks to try and make it sound softer when you're really just making it illegal. Because most women don't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. At 6 weeks, you're like, maybe I'm just late.
Women, I do know women who can tell you down to the day that it's going to happen, but I've always gotten about one a month, but I've never been regular enough to be able to just like pinpoint it. Right. So I know so many women that they wouldn't, around 6 weeks is when they would start thinking they probably needed to take a test, because that's, a little long for even their irregular patterns, right. Like around 6 weeks is probably when somebody's even thinking about taking a test. They probably don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's go into this real quick. So we'll watch this clip real quick. But yeah, this is insane.
And let's talk more about it now with Florida's Democratic Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Congresswoman, it's a great day to have you on. There's a lot to talk about. You obviously are a Congresswoman from Florida, so just give us your reaction as to what you just heard from the state Supreme Court.
Well, I'm elated that the more than 1 million Floridians who signed a petition to get the abortion rights amendments to our Constitution on the ballot are going to have pushed and successfully pushed for an opportunity for voters across the state to make sure that politicians, the government, and judges are not allowed to be involved in deeply personal healthcare decisions for families. And with the unfortunate, really devastating decision that the Supreme Court has allowed the 15-week abortion ban passed by the Republican-led legislature and signed by the governor to take effect, and 30 days later we'll essentially have a total abortion ban here with a.
Yeah, so that's what I just said. But that's the thing is 1 million people signed a petition. That's a fucking big petition. I've never heard of a petition that big. I'm sure there have been lots of them, but I'm from Oregon. Petitions like 50,000 people, 100,000 people. It's not like get 1 million people. But
right.
Yeah, but now it's like, okay, it's one of those things where every year it was like, oh, maybe Florida will turn blue this year. Maybe it'll turn blue this year. And it never does. And we never expect it to. But now it's like, well, fuck, if half the state, all the women are pissed off, Florida is now in play again because of the abortion things. So, yeah. The abortion thing might flip it all over. I think it's kind of an interesting thing what'll happen with that, and we can see it. But it's absolutely crazy to me. And I wanted to cover a couple just things real quick. So just with the abortion stuff, it's such a dangerous thing for a health reason for women. And I'm just going to look at this article here on maternal health divide. So the limited maternal health services and worse outcomes of states proposing new abortion restrictions. So they just went and looked at kind of states that have restrictions, the 26 that do and the 24 that don't, and what the comparisons are. And so, they did the demographic comparisons. This is the states that have abortion restrictions, and these are the ones that have access. And then they did it by ethnicity. And essentially, in states that have abortion access, you have less, more minority births, because minorities tend to be poorer because of racism, segregation, shit like that. But in the access states, white people give birth more, right? Or where they deny access. Sorry. But then like maternity care resources. So the dark one here, I don't know if that's a pink or a peach color. That's basically states that don't have abortion. They're abortion restriction states, and these are abortion access states. So maternity care resources, right, for mothers are more available in states that have abortion. So there's less resources to help the mothers. There's also less, contraception and things like that in those states too. And they did by counties with maternity care deserts, right? Which isn't as big of a deal in states that have access to abortion. And then here, maternal deaths are way higher in states that limit abortion. More women die of pregnancy by far. And then this is also by race and ethnicity, still much higher in the abortion ban states. I mean, just to give you a sense of this is not just about, because it always gets focused on, well, we're trying to save the fetus, right? Or it's a child, it's a person shit. You're forgetting the other person, the person carrying the child, who is a citizen and has rights.
Remember, we don't care about her.
Yeah, that's the problem. And really, at the end of the day, and we've done this argument so many times, but it's like, it's so simple from my perspective, which is, okay, if your ultimate goal here is to not restrict abortion, but to limit the number of abortions, right? Banning it doesn't do it, because a lot of women are still going to go get abortions. It doesn't bring the rates down. All you've done is made it unsafe for them to get abortions. They're still going to do it. If the whole goal is to limit abortions, then what do you need? Maternity care, sex education, access to contraception, access to free clinics, right? But those states that are banning abortion don't do any of that shit. Because really, the issue isn't for them. We want to limit the number of abortions. It's we want to oppress women. We don't want women having sex. That's what it really is. You know. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of wrap up on that because that's just it might flip the election here, and it fucking A should. And you know, if you're a woman or if you support women, you should not be voting for the Republicans this year. So.
You know what? The only positive in this is it might get some people to reconsider their vote and where they're placing their vote.
Yeah. Well, that's
so
what we're
there we go.
That's what we're hoping for. Well, that's our show. Sorry to end on kind of a bummer, but thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks, Lacey. Where can everybody catch you at?
As always, everyone can catch me at mysensewithsense.com, and you can find articles I've written, information about workshops and courses. If you have questions about those, or if you want to send us some clips, topic requests, or invite yourself on with us, you can email us. Duncan, where do they do that?
You can email us at gossipfinancead@outlook.com. Also, I always forget to mention this, but Lacey's links are also below in the description. So, yeah, if you have questions, please, we've still open invitation if you want to come on the show and argue with us. We're game for it. But thanks everybody for joining us. We'll catch you guys next time.